As you look at the age breakdowns in your findings or the racial group findings, is there anything surprising here? I'm looking at 51% of Black voters say they're highly motivated. 44% of Asian voters say they're extremely motivated. Are there any broader conclusions you're drawing from those figures?
Well, I think you've seen this for the past few elections where Black voters, Hispanic voters have not turned out at the same high rates as white voters necessarily. It's close, but not especially among Black voters. But I think you saw this in the Obama era where Black voters actually the turnout actually exceeded that of white voters. So this is not new. This has been the case for the past few elections, and certainly young voters have been consistently less likely to cast ballots than older voters, and that's not a new pattern either. That's been the case since for the past 3 or 4 decades.
And then finally, there's a section of this research that I think is important, and it's a little surprising of a topic. Typically we're talking about policy and voter sentiment, but this is voter feelings about political violence. Can you talk about why it was important for Pew to include questions about political violence as part of this survey?
Well, I think it is an important topic. We've not only seen 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump, but we've seen a lot of threats of violence against political candidates, and so it's become an issue, unfortunately. And 66% of the voters in our survey say, these kinds of threats are a major problem, and I don't think that's surprising given what's happened over the past few months, and it's a big concern for voters.
Is there anything else, either in terms of the political violence, in terms of the candidate preference, or the certainty or uncertainty that this research shows that you think is important to raise today and to talk about?
Well, I think what's interesting is that the campaign, we've shown other findings that show people are kind of exhausted by politics at this stage in the campaign, and you see this reflected in this data as well, where people find it too negative. That's certainly not new. The past few campaigns I've seen is too negative. One of the interesting things, though, is about 2/3 find it interesting. So I think that's a finding. That it's not dull. No matter what you say about American politics today, relatively few people find it dull, even if they find it too negative and not policy focused enough. Relatively few say it's dull, which you can understand after the events of the last few months.